December 1st, 2021. Mr. Jones, will you please call the roll?
Here. Laurel.
Here.
Brody.
Here.
Mitchell. Sarah.
Here.
Williams. Here. Whitmer.
Here.
Murray. Here.
Here. Thank you, Mr. Jones. One is present. Will you please join me in the salute to the flag? Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Prior to coming here to the public, we had our executive sessions. And during the executive session, we talked about the personnel agenda, the June out-of-school suspension and detention report, and the legal status report. At this time, Dr. Mass, you have a message? Thank you.
So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the first board meeting of the school year. We are so excited to welcome everyone back, especially our students on September 9th. And we also have some students who will be visiting with us this evening. Also, tonight we have our first board meeting with our new business administrator, Christopher Jones. So just another positive transition. At the June 17th Board of Education meeting, we presented the district plan for a safe return to in-person instruction for September. This document involved into what is now called the SPF Road Forward and describes all updated district health and safety protocols. That document can be found on the district website. Additionally, all families have received letters from their building principals outlining the needed information for the opening of schools for students. If parents have not received those communications, they should reach out to my office. I understand that there's some glitches regarding Yahoo accounts, and we're working on that. Additionally, I would like to give an update on the district work with diversity. We are all aware that there is a lot of national friction on what has become a catchphrase, critical race theory, or CRT. We do not want to be a part of this polarization here in Scotts Plains family. It is not who we want to be as a community and not the direction the district is going in. I have heard concerns from some of our community members that they believe that our work with Dr. Joshi will have a negative impact on our students because her work does not value all members of our community, specifically like Christians. I understand this concern, but it just isn't true. Dr. Joshi's work in our district is focused on ensuring that all students and families have the same access to our district's education and programs. It supports our educators in understanding the diversity of our community and embraces our common humanity while recognizing that we have different beliefs and different values. The district's contract with Dr. Joshi includes training with our administrators and a group of 17 of our educators. As announced previously, her work includes a parent information session, which is scheduled in the high school auditorium on October 6th from 7 to 9. This will conclude the work that we have scheduled with Dr. Joshi to date. I also want to highlight that the district and our communities have a long-standing commitment to work in diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is reflected in our mission statement that you can see on the district website that was written almost 20 years ago with community involvement and buy-in. The mission of Scotts Plains Family Public Schools is to educate every student to become a confident and caring lifelong learner who can communicate and contribute positively to the rapidly changing world. The district, in cooperation with the community, will provide an academic environment which values excellence, initiative, and diversity. That has been our long-standing mission statement. So additionally, just a couple of important announcements. The SBF communication plan you will hear an update from our community relations report. And additionally, just a reminder, our strategic planning dates are September 28th and October 19th in the evening. So mark your calendar for those dates. So that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Mr. Jones, the Business Administrator's report, please.
Yes. Just a quick update tonight that I want to give on transportation. So I have some really awesome news that due to some of the hard work of the transportation staff and switching up some different routes to make these happen, we'll be able to offer subscription busing to all residents that received subscription busing in 1920. So nobody will lose that service. In addition, we're still working through some additional routes to see if we can add in incremental spots to the buses. Some of the challenges this year were different things that we had to change a significant amount of number of routes due to just, as students move up in different schools that our enrollment fluctuates with grades, so buses got full, and so we had certain weekends around. And so it took a little bit longer to get to where we need to be, but I feel confident that we'll be able to on some Christian busing that we have previously. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies of which any business acting in their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Scotch Plains Family Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted at the Board of Education offices located at 512 Cedar Street, Scotch Plains, New Jersey. Such notice was also provided in written notice form and forwarded to the Times, the Star Ledger, the Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, and the Borough Clerk of Danville. In the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings as adopted April 29, 2021. At this time, it's instructional update. We have Captain Dixon and the Park Middle School students to present the coffee park. Dr. Dubers will do an introduction.
Is this better? All right, good evening, Board of Education. Thank you so much for having us tonight. I have the illustrious honor of introducing some very special guests this evening to talk about a really wonderful initiative that we have the opportunity to explore and we are going to expand this year. So Mrs. Dixon, Mrs. Catherine Dixon, will be presenting tonight. She is our special education teacher at Park. She works with our self-contained students, and she will be talking to you about Coffee Cart. But I also wanted to introduce very special guests who will help us talk more about, well, help us show what Coffee Cart is. We have Mr. Zachary Schiff and Mr. Jonah Heischer. Mrs. Dixon, take it away.
Might be a little bit shy, but I'm not used to being in front of a large group. So our coffee cart that was started this year was the 5th, 6th, and 7th grade self-contained students. And our self-contained students are students that in school, they work on a significantly modified or if not an alternate curriculum during the school year. So the actual opportunity arose because the self-contained students have been in school in person for almost the entire year last year. There was we have quarantine, but we were in person. And because of that, and the schedule that was set up, there was a chunk of time that we wanted to look at doing enrichment activities with the students. So the idea came up because it's actually something I had talked to Dr. D about doing in the past, and we just struggled to find the time and figuring out how the logistics of what we were going to do. So when we had the opportunity to have this block of time in the day, we thought, let's do it. Let's get started. Let's try Coffee Cart. And it's been a success from the moment that we started it. What we do is we actually take online orders. So as you saw, you place an online order today for your coffee, tea, or hot chocolate that you wanted to have. So the students go through the process, excuse me, of filling the orders. So, excuse me, sorry. So the students go through the process of taking down the information and filling the orders. Some of the benefits to this, we actually have an opportunity to practice a significant amount of skills. Some of the self-contained students are working on some of the even just fine motor skills. Putting a lid on top of a cup is a challenge for some of our students. So we get an opportunity to practice that. Opening up something very small, a packet of sugar, figuring out how to open up something like that, we've been able to practice. We've actually found an opportunity to practice lots of gross motor skills as well, navigating the building. Some students might have had aversions to using the elevator. So we practice going into the elevator and using that, and practicing tons of skills. We practice lots of academic skills when we're doing it, reading, writing, the math that also goes into it. If you have one finger, but you need another, how many more do you need? And it's also wonderful for practicing vocational and independent life skills. Because that's a focus that we want to look at also with a lot of our self-contained population is how do we teach some skills that they may not pick up by just observing someone else doing it, but they have to actually be interacting and doing that. This year we did online orders as well as we have an opportunity to try to do live orders. So we have our little coffee, a door open and a table, and students were actually taking live interactive orders, which was amazing because it also gave them another opportunity to practice additional social skills while they were interacting with different adults that came to the door. And it's only teachers that we have that are interacting with the students and doing coffee cart. So it's a wonderful opportunity for them to practice that as well. So if you wanted to go ahead, you can probably start just the buttons and delivering them out. But some of the things that we wanted to also look at for the program, and something we're going to look at starting a little bit this year too, we're going to have the students start taking inventory. That's another skill that's with this, where the students have to also keep track of what we have, what we might need. And as I said, what they're going to do is practice and also just matching. They filled out the slips, as you see, so you'll be able to see on their cups. They fill out the orders. So inventory is a part of this also. So the students are also keeping track of the supplies that we have, how many supplies we used that day, how many more we have left. So that we're doing that with Coffee Cart, but we want to also extend that to be a part of our school supplies. So this year the students are going to start taking inventory and actually filling orders and delivering them to teachers for school supplies that they might need throughout the year. And the students are really excited about that. They were able to help and start filling out the information and delivering them. They actually, this year, to start off the school year, the students actually made supply bags for each of the teachers that the teachers received today, that the students created and compiled together for them. We'd also like to continue to explore a lot of different life skills with the students, as well as hopefully get to the place where we can actually work on real-time money skills. Right now, we're just doing it based on, we had done a fundraiser, so we're using the money from the fundraiser and other donations that people are providing for it. So we'd like to hopefully get to the place of being able to use actual money exchange potentially with the students and practicing the skills. And additionally, we would hope to potentially get to the place where we might be able to have more of a life skills room for students to be able to practice all of these different skills. So as you see, they're just going, so as you, on the cups, the students actually write out and fill out all that information where they take your online order, they have a sheet of paper, and they record all of the information you order onto each of the slips. So right now, they're just matching the names with the name tags and making sure that everyone is getting their hopefully correct order that they have. Typically, when we've done this during the school year, we have about, at most, I think we had about 60 of our teachers filling orders, and the students went around and filled those 60 orders to all of those teachers. So we've had as little as about 30 and as much as I believe about 60 one day. So it takes a lot, as you can see, it's a really beneficial activity for our students to be participating in. So we're really happy that we have that opportunity for our Richmond. And because it works so well, we wanted to keep it going this year. So we're going to keep having our coffee cart. And all of the teachers were so excited today when I told them that we were going to keep the coffee cart going. And as you can see, we had one of our nurses, she says to the students all the time, the coffee cart is the highlight of her day. She absolutely loves when we come around for coffee carts, and everyone looks forward to it. And we have Joni here, even had said, one day when we were doing it, he said, so much fun, and I'm so much fun, and I'm really good at it. You are, it's wonderful. We were so excited because why we're doing this is to teach all of these different skills that they can then apply into the community. And one of the students even said, I work with Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks, because he realized that all of these activities that he's doing are helping him to, as he's growing and learning more, that's going to just help him outside of school too. So he's really able to take a lot away from this. It's one of our favorites. Thank you so much.
Presentation, and thank you for taking the time to come out tonight on this rainy night and preparing our special beverages for us. I can't be proud. Thank you so much. You're doing a wonderful job. Does anybody else want to make comments, Laura?
I just wanted to jump in. I'm a little bit biased because I've been these two gentlemen probably since they were into it. But thank you so much, guys. This is awesome. I'm so glad. I love seeing when we get to see programs that take place in the school, and especially something that's interactive. But hearing you, I took a picture of my name tag, and I really love that you guys are getting something out of this. I love seeing programs.
So thank you so much for sharing this with us. Thank you to the parents for taking the kids out of the school. So thank you.
This is Ariana.
I want to thank Jonah and Zachary for coming. It's not easy to come in front of this large group of people, and while you're doing it, to be so focused and attentive to the task at hand. So thank you for delivering our coffee. You did a tremendous job, and I want to thank the teachers as well in the self-contained classroom. One of the pieces of our strategic plan is authentic learning experiences. So this is definitely connecting, to real-world experiences and taking everyday tasks and, showing the kids what they can do out in the world. So thank you so much. Thanks for coming, guys.
This is Sarah. Want to make a comment?
I would just like to say that this program was definitely one of our pandemic silver linings. It really echoed throughout the district, the coffee cart, and it certainly bolstered the morale of the teachers, recognizing that your students and the special ed teachers were in every day, and you really not only continued having learning move forward, but you had an exemplar of what Mrs. Sariani said, just real life experience, and this is an example that we'll be able to use to grow our program. So thank you for your creativity, and gentlemen, thank you for your commitment. And both Dr. Timorous and Ms. Morano, thank you for your enthusiastic support. I saw that you were intimately involved in this program. So just a tremendous gratitude to both of you. Cheers.
Hi, everybody. The officer just wanted me to make an announcement. Westfield Road from Evergreen to Morse is now closed. 22 is flooded east and west. Bonnieburn Road and Union Road, parts of Lambertville Road, West Broad, and Headfield, and Glenside Ave is shut down. So just want to let you know if you're heading home. Be safe.
Thank you for coming out to discuss all the public health. In accordance with the Scotch Plains Preamble Board of Education bylaws 01640165, the meeting will be open for 15 minutes for public comments, maximum 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. Speakers, please state your full name and town in which you reside when you come to the podium. Please note, board members cannot respond regarding concerns of individual students or staff members. Such matters should be addressed to the superintendent's office. So if you'd like to make a public comment, please come to the podium at this time.
Hi, good evening. Timothy, Freshman. Welcome to the new school year. I just want to touch on a couple of topics. You were promised a report from the communications consultant. It was delayed understandably until August. I haven't seen it yet, maybe I missed it. I'm very critical of spending more money with the same consultant without some results first. That just does not happen in private law. School lunches, we thought we were going to get this figured out with Compton and build hot lunches. I'll let you guys deal with my wife when she figures out she has to pack lunch. That's all I'll say. We really need clarity in the quarantine process. If a whole class needs to be quarantined, what does that virtual school look like? Is it just Google Classroom? Is it just home instruction similar to those that have health issues? We really need to know what that looks like. But the new news from Governor Murphy's office saying the K-12 is exempt as long as they're wearing masks and 3 is promising. Hoping it goes that way and we understand that. I'd like to make an announcement that myself, Mike Dromek, and Dr. Levine are also running for the board. So the 3 of us are running on the platform of science, communication, and safety. 3 areas that I think we can assist in greatly. Dr. Levine is a pediatrician in town. I've been a communications and marketing specialist for the last 15 years. And Mr. Dromek is a local law enforcement officer. So these are 3 very solid candidates for positions that will be open in November. The last thing I'd like to say, and do not take this personally, I think it's a little bit premature to pass 4 OBB. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Leon. Is there anybody else for public comment? Hi, my name is Elaine Samuel. Good evening. My first question is directed to Dr. Mass. Dr. Mass, in your July 12th letter, stated as a fact that critical race theory is not being taught in Scotch Plains Family School. However, you neglected to define critical race theory. Could you please provide a definition? This is not a question and answer period. You're to make a comment.
If you do have questions, just think of all of what time it was on, because there's one for that.
So, state my question at the end.
No, I'm saying, if don't say yes, no, so you have 3 minutes of your calls.
Okay.
But just, you proceed with your full comments, and then if the board has a response, we'll wait until we go.
Okay, great. All right, well, yeah. So the definition of critical race theory basically is to include that racism and disparate racial outcomes are the result of complex, changing, often subtle social and institutional dynamics rather than explicit
and intentional prejudices in individuals.
John Denton, Scotch Plains. In fact, in your letter you sent, your exact word, we are not teaching critical race theory in the Scotch Plains Family School District. So you obviously think it's a danger, and you would have alerted everyone to that fact. So why are your promises it's not going to be taught if there's nothing to back it up? So I want to know, with several hundred staff, how did you possibly confirm that critical race theory is not taught in the district? Because I will tell you from my experience and other experiences with parents, it is being taught. Okay? It's being taught that racism is a social construct. Even in the last meeting, when you related that story in Dr. Joshi's book, which is cover to cover, Critical Race Theory, White Christian Privilege, you can read it, you can compare it to the definition of critical race theory. It's that from start to finish. Even the story you related, you said that person was expressing their white Christian privilege, the very language of critical race theory. So, Dr. Josie has also said she incorporates critical race theory into all her classes. If we have hired her to come teach classes, basic logic would say that she incorporates it in all of her classes, and she's here teaching, it's being taught here, paid for with taxpayer dollars. So I don't think we properly assessed the district as far as the critical race theory is being taught, and I don't think we've taken the necessary steps to protect our children from this dangerous theory. So I would really like to hear where each of the board members stands, and I'd like to give you just a sample, and I know you guys can do better, of a resolution from another district where they did address critical race theory appropriately. You're the board. You nine. You set the policy. Here's your opportunity to make sure that the promise that was made to us is kept in a definable, reportable, and enforceable way. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Jennings. Is there another comment from the public? Please come up.
Over this. Stephanie Martolis, Westfield Road, Scotch Plains. Good evening, members of the Board of Education. I'm here today to go on record and address concerns I have as a mother regarding the governor's mask mandate. I'm sympathetic to the position we're all in as our leaders, and elected officials. I'm not here to ask you to violate your oaths or break the law or risk your professional licenses. It is shameful that our state legislator has allowed King Murphy to rule endless emergency executive orders, even though the state of emergency is over. What I am here to ask you tonight is to be our voice, my voice. We and I elected you to represent the parents and children of this town, and I have written the governor, as I'm sure other parents have, but I know very well most of those letters go unread and unanswered. What this board can do, and what is within the scope of your power, is to express to Governor Murphy the will of the parents in this town, to maintain our choice and do what's right for Scotch Plains. I'm here to ask you to send the governor a letter advocating for parental approach to our district, mask optional approach to our district, local rule, and parental choice. A statewide mandate doesn't address any of the local case rates or variation factors that go in an individual district. What is good for our neighboring towns may not be good for us. Even last year, our case rates were always significantly below statewide averages. My son is supposed to be an incoming third grader next week. And my heart breaks for him and his socialization and his education. And all the normal childhood school experiences he's already missed. His last full day of normal school was when he was halfway through first grade. It's disgraceful. And it's not the kind of childhood or educational experience I wanted him to have when we moved here to Scotch Plains. Mind you, I'm paying 5-figure taxes, and I was paying 3. I am disenrolling my son
so that I can homeschool him until this mask mandate is reversed, and until my right as a parent to decide what is best for my child is restored. I will not send him to school for 8 hours a day with a mask. To me, it is positively abusive to send my healthy son to school and willingly restrict his breathing. I do not consent to that kind of abuse. I have made the necessary decisions and adjustments in my personal life to homeschool my son, but I know that there are a lot of parents that feel the way I do, and they cannot quit their jobs. I feel like we're being forced to choose between the emotional well-being of our children, their physical health, and our family's finances, and it's just plain wrong. So in closing, I'd like you to consider my comment and take the very bold step of reiterating your letter to the governor and tell him that the parents of this town want choice and a mask optional approach. He isn't listening to me or us individually, and we need you to amplify our voices and be our bullhorn, and maybe then the message will get across. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Bethany. Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment at this time? Seeing no one, and I'm going to close this portion of the meeting. There will be another opportunity for public comment later in the meeting. Does anybody have a committee report? Due to the weather, we're going to pass on the committee reports for this meeting. We'll pick those up at the next meeting. Letters to the board, there were 18 emails received from the public, and the appropriate administrator has responded. Dr. Bass, superintendent report?
So 1S will be out-of-district placements. 2S, harassment, intimidation, and bullying report. 3S, curriculum approval. 4S, establish and eliminate special education program services. That results in students changing grade levels and reestablishing new programs to meet them in the grade levels they're in. 5S, field trip requests. 6S, comprehensive equity plan statement of assurance. And those are the topics on my report.
Since one of those is a roll call report, can I have a motion to accept these? So, say, thank you, Mrs. Brody, second. I didn't see who said the second.
Amy said the first.
Okay, so Mrs. Gordon was the first mover, and then Mrs. Brody was the second. Any question or discussion on these items? So Mr. Johnson, one of those is the roll call vote, and the other is group with the roll call. So can you please call the roll?
Mrs. Bauer? Mrs. Doyle?
Yes.
Mrs. Brody?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell? Mrs. Soriano?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Winkler?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Dr. Polkowski?
Yes. There's one, so the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Thank you, Dr. Knapp. This is the personnel agenda.
So I'm requesting approval for the personnel report that haven't been accepted.
Okay, Mr. Jones, can you please call the roll again? Oh, is there a motion to accept? Thank you, Mr. Murray. Is there a second?
Second, Laura.
Thank you, Mrs. Bora. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Jones, please call the roll.
Mrs. Bauer?
Yes.
Mrs. Doyle?
Yes.
Ms. Brody?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell? Ms. Soriano?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Winkler?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Dr. Polkowski?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Jones, for passes the agenda. Personnel is accepted. Thank you, Dr. Ross. Mr. Jones, when you're ready, we are to business functions.
through these fairly quickly as these have been addressed in committee meetings and board members, so a lot of these are related to just staff, legal staff. First one, staff training, that is coming. A special education and legal settlement agreement, student transportation is number 3, and that's really, that is for a parent who will actually drive their child to school for special education. Number 4, related services. Number 5 is independent evaluation of full cost of education services that is a standard amount in the tax every year. Number 6 is the membership rules on insurance, and that is a service that is a fund that we use that we combine with other school districts to combine our costs to for general building insurance, which we passed previously, where our rates are essentially flat. We expect in the future to be a risk for us financially due to the increased cost in cyber liability. Number 7 is just a standard software program we use that we approve. Number 8 is their communication consultants and funded by ARPSSPR grant. Fire and security drill, number 9. 10 is our standard grants. We have the programs over here, so we have to approve the one here, and that's going to be 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is non-public. Funding initiative that we essentially work as the back office based funding. That's 14, again, this is for standard statute stuff. Number 15 is the non-public. 16 is more professional development. 17 is renewal physical IT infrastructure. And 18 is disposal, so we have to figure out assets, we have to put them on the board agenda. So that is 18. 19 is the same. 20 is the same as a disposal. And then everyone will do our normal pay our bills and results in so 21, 22, and 23.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Do I have a motion? Thank you, Mrs. Jody. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Winkler. Is there any question or discussion on any of these business items that Mr. Jones proposed? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Jones. Next, we have the board policies. Mrs. Winkler.
So tonight I'd like to move that the board approve second reading and adoption for the following policies. Policy 5610 on suspension and 5620 on expulsion. Reported out on both of these in our meeting review. Should I lump them all together?
Oh, okay. Can I have a motion for a second for the policy?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Soriano. Any other question or discussion about the board approval of the policies? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? You're welcome.
Also, I'd like to move that the board approve first reading for policy 1648.11 to go forward. This is a policy that we are required to have in place based on the road code that the Department of Education released over the summer. This guidance replaces this replaces the road back guidance in 2020, and it addresses the requirements of the road code. As of August 10, 2021, the mandatory requirements are included in Appendix C, Master and Protocol, and Appendix G, Transportation Protocols. We anticipate potential updates to the road code and corresponding updates to our policy as this guidance becomes available. And I will group that with 3 POL and move that the board approve abolishing the following board
Thank you, Mrs. Moore. Any question or discussion on these two items? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Moore. Thank you. Is there any new board business? Seeing none. Other board business. We're going to skip the liaison reports until next meeting. Any requests to attend workshops or workshop reports? None. We're going to jump down to OBD 5, the Teamsters contract, which is the local rules. The Teamsters contract, the Board of Education ratifies the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, Local 469 contract, including the rate percentages as follows: 2021, 3, 21, 22, 3.1, 22, 23, 3.15, 23, 24, 3.2, and 24, 25 is 3.25. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Winkler. Any question or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Excuse me, Mr. Jones, please.
Ms. Bauer?
Yes.
Ms. Laurel? Mrs. Laurel?
Yes.
Mrs. Bodie?
Yes.
Mrs. Mitchell? Ms. Sardani?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Winkler?
Yes.
Ms. Murray? Yes. Dr. Lopez?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Jones. 6 ODD, we have the renewal of the Joint Committee for Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation. 7 ODD, the Latino and Hispanic Heritage Month Resolution. 9 ODD, Suicide Prevention Month Resolution. Excuse me, Arts Education was ODD 8 Resolution. Tag is the approval of the revised schedule for the meeting dates, which is listed in the agenda here, and it is online. So I moved the resolutions as a group. That was known as 5 through 10 plus the dates of the meetings. Do I have a second? Second. Thank you, Mrs. Winkler. Any question or discussion about the resolutions of the meeting dates? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries. Going back to 3 ODD, I'd like to open the meeting up in public comment at this time with respect to the proposed superintendent contract. If anyone from the public has a comment regarding the superintendent contract only, please approach the microphone, state your name and the town in which you reside. All comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. So we have anybody from the public that would like to comment on 3 ODD or 4 ODD regarding superintendent contract?
I can't. Are we able to speak? Or?
It says state your name and the town in which you reside.
Okay, sorry. Maria Maloney, family.
Okay. And then you have a comment regarding the superintendent contract?
No, I thought it said open to public comment.
Right. Relating to the superintendent contract only at this time.
No.
There will be another public comment after this. This is just for the superintendent contract for right this minute. Okay.
No.
We'll put you on hold for the next one. So see, there is another person coming to the microphone for public comment on the superintendent contract.
John Dennis, Scotch Plains. All I'd like to do is ask you to publicly read those resolutions so that everyone's aware of what's going on, and I would like to hear the board discuss it. It's an incredibly important issue, and I think the public has a right to know where everyone stands.
Right now, we're talking about the
That's
superintendent
my comment
contract.
on the superintendent resolution.
We didn't.
It's only right that they be read and then understand where everyone stands on it. That's my comment on it.
to the microphone. So 3 OBB. I move that the superintendent of schools contract rescission, which is being a roll call vote. I move that the consent of the superintendent, Board of Education, rescinds the 5-year contract of employment for Dr. Joan Mast, which is effective August 10th, 2019 through June 30th, 2023. And provided a salary of $196,584. The contract remains on file with the Department of Human Resources. And then OB4, Superintendent of Schools new contract, which is also a roll call vote. I move that upon the approval of the county executive superintendent and in accordance with the NJAC 6A 23A-3.1, the Board of Education approves a 5-year contract of employment for Dr. Joan Mast effective July 1, 2021 through 11:59 p.m. on June 30, 2026. Effective July 1, 2021, and the 2021-2026 contract shall supersede and replace the 2019-2023 contract that the board has rescinded. The superintendent's annual salary for the school year 2021-2022 is established at $202,088. The contract is on file in the Department of Human Resources. So Mr. Jones, at this time, will you please call the roll for these two? I made the motion. Second? Thank you, Mrs. Murray. Any question or discussion about this?
Dr. Kobayashi, could I just give a comment, public comment that made earlier? Just so the public's aware of how this process works and the board is already aware. The board cannot negotiate or discuss personnel in public. All board members have seen the contracts at issue. It has been discussed in executive session previously. It has been submitted to the county officer, the superintendent. So this is a process that has taken place. This is the final action of the board. This is not the first time the board is seeing these documents. Ms. Bauer?
Yes.
Ms. Laura?
Yes.
Ms. Brody?
Yes.
Ms. Mitchell? Mr. Young?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Winkler?
Yes.
Mr. Murray? Yes. Dr. Kobayashi?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. And that concludes other board business. We have a motion to approve the minutes from June 1, June 17, exec annual meeting, June 23, exec and public meeting, and July 14, exec and regular public meeting. Thank you, Mrs. Winkler. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Williams. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Motion carries to the approval of the minutes. We are in accordance with the Scotch Plains Standard Public School Bylaw 0164-0165. The meeting will be open for 15 minutes in public comments with a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. Speakers addressing superintendent items, business functions, and other board business will be heard first. If time remains, speakers may address other matters. Speakers, please state your full name and the town in which you reside when you come to the podium. Please note, board members cannot respond regarding concerns of individual students or staff members, and such matters should be addressed by the superintendent's office. If you'd like to make a public comment, please come to the podium at this time.
Maria Maloney, okay.
Thank you.
So I did not know that you were not commenting back on my comments. Otherwise I would have just sent an email and then I didn't know, I thought this was like an in-person forum, so I
Now
didn't
you can say what you
express. Well, I could speak for a long time, but if I can't have a two-way conversation, I can tell you how I feel, and I can tell you that I don't think it's fair that it's, your views are being put, these views of race theory are being put upon our children, and we don't have a say in them. And I think that is something we should be doing at home, and schools should stick to academics. I have a friend who's trying to make it here who, her story is heartbreaking in the fact that she has 2 biological children. She is white, she adopted a black boy, and she said this critical race theory is going to make her son go home and look at her differently, and that's heartbreaking to me. And these are the stories that you're not understanding, that it's going to affect families in ways that you can't imagine. And I don't know how you're saying it's not critical race theory, but if you read Dr. Joshi's book or see her YouTube videos, which I've sat through, it's pretty critical race theory to me. So I don't know why you're saying that it is not critical race theory when in fact it is. So I just wanted an explanation on that. So is there, do I email you?
You can certainly email me, you can give me a call, we can have an extensive conversation. You know, your initial question was by definition. So what is critical race theory? In my perspective, the critical race theory is a legal framework to look at.
Dr. Bass, I'm sorry, I know this is important subject for other people, but the officer of other things.
I'm sorry, but you're sitting in a meeting going on, but 70% of the campus flooded. I advise everyone here to either during this meeting postpone it, because in a couple minutes, we'll be able to leave this facility. Almost all the roads around us are flooded. I don't know if you guys drive, but only certain you're actually going to have to get out of the apartment, right? You're going to have to go out Cedar Street here to Evergreen, all the way up to Maple Avenue, because 22 is completely flooded over the median. Bonnie Burn is shut down, Westside shut down, Lawrence and Lincoln School Road are flooded, Hetfield is flooded. Now that is flooding, Florida is shut down in Mountain. I mean, it's just continuing. My ratings have been going up the whole time. My lieutenant called me.
So we'll be able to.
Completely closed. 22, you're not going to be able to get on the wall. I
Thank
don't know where
you.
you guys live or where you're going, but
Dr. Corgassi, based on this information, I think that we can make an exception, both of them are going to
I've been here as long as you guys have. So, I can't really tell you.
Thank you, officer.
Thank you, sir.
My lieutenant called me, emergency, so.
Thank you.
I'd like to,
Sorry.
when you get a chance to
Sorry,
explain,
Maria.
please hold up, please hold up the mask, you don't need to cut you short, if you will discuss
Sorry.
that with you personally. Okay, so we're going to end public comment at this time, and I'm going to say our next meeting is September 29th, the regular public meeting at 7:30. We'll hold our remarks for the good of the order, and I have a motion to